I saw The Materialist this weekend and I want to talk about it. If you're new here, hi, I'm Emily. Welcome back to the Creative Spark. And this year I've been on a bit of a cinema journey and I've been in the process of watching 52 movies in 52 weeks of cult classic pop culture movies. However, today we're taking a little bit of a detour and I'm going to talk about a movie that is out at the cinema right now that's having a lot of conversation around it, and that is The Materialists. It's very hard. I don't know why I can't say that word very well. I, and I'm just going to say this is going to be different to a lot of the other reviews I've seen out there. I loved it. I loved it. I, I, I need to talk about it because I'm seeing so much kind of discourse online, which is really interesting to me. One, I'm seeing a lot of conversation saying that the trailer was a little misleading in the way that it sort of people thought it was presenting itself as a bit of a throwback to the 2000s rom-com. I personally never got that out of the trailer. I always got sort of 2000s romantic drama from it. And the entire concept, if you don't know the film, is about a woman who works as a matchmaker for high-end clients and but can't seem to make her own dating life work. She is stuck between the unicorn of a man that she meets, aka Pedro Pascal, who is perfect on paper, ticks all of her boxes, and her ex-boyfriend, who is a struggling actor, has roommates, and is a good guy. But they first time around they couldn't make it work because they wanted she wanted a nicer life. She wanted to be able to go to nice restaurants and spend time with her partner and going out to do nice things, but they had no money because she was also a struggling actor at the time. So, one, this film resonated so much. It hit real hard. I'm going to say, and I see a lot of videos talking about how single women have walked out being like, I'm so depressed. That was so depressing, but also, and I'm crying. And I get it. I was one of those women. I did cry in the movie. At the end of the film, I cried. But I also cried because it was a bit of a call out to our entire millennial generation and the way we date nowadays and how high our expectations of people are becoming. But it was also beautiful. And I think it's very subtle in the way in what it's saying. And I think people are missing the point. I also think it doesn't help that they cast Pedro Pascal in the other role because he's Pedro Pascal and why would you not pick him? But like, how are you supposed to pick between Pedro Pascal and Chris Evans? That's just Sophie's choice of men. Like, what are you supposed to do? I don't understand. Like Captain America or the Mandalorian. What? I don't want to choose. Why can't it be a why choose situation? Anyway, I'm going to put some spoilers in here. So if you haven't seen the movie and you don't want spoilers, please save this video, come back later. The end of the film, so the concept, she meets this beautiful man named, oh my god, what were their names? I can't even remember the names of the characters now. Don't judge. She meets Pedro Pascal's character, and he is a unicorn. He is 6 foot, works in private equity, loves his family, beautiful, kind man, has this huge $14 million apartment in like on the Upper West Side. And as she says, and she says this to all of her clients as she goes, is that like this person is a good match. They tick all of our boxes. And it's this whole exploration and concept of the fact that these unicorn of a men that like are hard to find in the current dating world and is perfect on paper, but the chemistry and the the feelings just aren't there. So she dates this man and he's lovely and he's going to propose, and she ends up going, I can't do this because I'm not in love with you and you're not in love with me. And he goes, but we're a good, and they both are thinking too much with their heads and not with their hearts. They're going, we're in theory, we're a great match. Why isn't it? Why aren't we in love? And then she's got the opposite side of it where she's run into her, what people call her dusty ex-boyfriend, who is actually a sweetheart. And but they just kind of, when they were the first time around, they wanted different things. She wanted to be going somewhere, she wanted to have a nice life, she wanted to have more money, and he wanted to chase his dreams, which are both valid choices. They broke up because it was not the right time. It's the perfect example of right place, right person, wrong time. And the fact that they needed to grow into themselves a little bit more. And even I will say, in the middle of the movie, and when she was sort of getting to the point where she was going to break up with Pedro, I was like, I'm not sure. I was like, why? Like, in this day and age, why are you going back to the ex-boyfriend who, in theory, is not? It's not a great idea. Why are you going back? By the end of the movie, my heart was torn in two, and it was so beautiful, because what they explore in like the last sort of like 40 minutes of the film is them having an open discussion. Well, they do have a fight, but like it is a discussion, a conversation of being like, these are all, they lay out all of their flaws, and they still look at each other and go, why would you want to be with me? I'm, you know, she's classifies herself as cold and wanting more, and potentially would resent him for not being able to give her the life that she wants. But she doesn't want to be that way. And he knows that like he can't give her the life that she expects. But at the same time, it's not enough to keep them apart. They realize how much that they have this whole moment where they go, I love you, all of you, all of your flaws. And I want to be with you in the trenches every day, choosing you and working on our differences, because I love you and I want you. And I think that's sort of what's missing in the way that like in our current in the current dating world, the dating pool, they literally say this in the film where they're like, the older you get, the higher your expectations become and the less you're willing to quote unquote settle for less than the material things that you expect. So like them being taller than you, them being really attractive, them making more money than you, like all these different things. And it shows both sides, both the men and the women. But the women are a lot more reasonable, we'll say. The examples of the men who are on her dating service. Interesting. But it also explores the way that like there's a interesting storyline where they talk about how men can make themselves go and have a surgery where they break their legs and have a surgery that makes themselves taller to have an extra up to 6 inches in height. And they explore that part of it too. So they explore also the fact that men also take extreme measures to make themselves more desirable, just like women do. And if they've got the money, they can do things like that. And they explore that with Pedro, because Pedro's character did that surgery. And as he said, they had a whole conversation about it, really open. She's like, it makes me respect you more. She's like, I'm not, because he thought that she would want to leave because of that. And she was like, it's not about that. She was like, I'm glad you told me. Like, I'm glad we were open about it. And he talks about how like it improved his confidence drastically and how he would never be able to like approach a woman prior to that. And so it explores both sides of women and men and everyone in between, and how we approach dating and how we think other people view us and what other people's expectations of us are. And but in the end, the message of the film is that you love who you love, and as long as you have the same, like, you're not compromising yourself, your values, like who you are as a person, um then like your partner's always not going to always look exactly like what you want. They're not going to tick every single box. But if they love you and they want to be with you and they support you and want to look after your dreams, and that's what Chris Evans' character does for her, is he makes her warmer, and he makes her think more deeply about the world and the fact that things aren't perfect. And there's a scene where she rushes to help a friend who is being harassed, and she stays with her all night, and then she comes out and he's just spent all night sitting on the stoop outside the house just to make sure both of them are safe and they are okay, and so he can walk her home first thing in the morning. And that like that is the sign of a good man. He might not have the money that you want, but that is a sign of a good man. And the only qualm I had was, at the end of the film, she got offered a big job, a big promotion, and she was going to resign. And thank God at the end she does say, I'll think about it. Because in this moment, I was like, well, no. I was like, you can give yourself the life that you expect. You can be the main breadwinner, and he can chase his dreams. He can move out. She lives by herself in a tiny little apartment, so he can move out of the roommates and live with you, and you can share that rent. But also you can, in the words of Cher, that quote that she says where her mum said, checking my mic, her mum said, you need to marry a rich man. And Cher's response was, Mum, I am a very rich man. Be the very rich man. Like, if you have a job that you love and you can make that money, and your like partner is not like intimidated by that, and you want a nice life, make that money for yourself, babe. Be independent and have your relationship, like have your partner be your partner. So I really hope she said yes to the job in the end, because that would have been my only thing. If she did, in theory, if she does end up quitting, I'd be like, excuse me, girl. I'm like, no. Have your career and have your man. Have your cake and eat at 2. No. But that is what I took out of that film. I just thought it was really well done. It does make you question things. It makes you look at yourself as a single person and what that means and what you're putting out in the dating world. And yeah, that's all I'm going to say. I loved it. And I think if you're offended by it, if you're like, why would you pick that? I'm like, maybe you need to have a little bit of a look at what your like expectations are. And I'm not talking about values, and because I'm also single, I'm not saying give up. Like, you deserve. You don't deserve a mediocre man. You deserve the unicorn. You deserve the person who makes you feel valued and who's going to be your partner and show up for you. But the point is, they may not look exactly what you expect them to look like. And that's what I mean by expectations. Not that they shouldn't treat you as you deserve to be treated, but they may just not look like what you expect. And maybe, like, as a society, I feel like we need to take a bit of a long, hard look at that conversation these days. Anyway, I'm going to wrap that up because honestly, I've been thinking about this movie for 4 days. Like, I can't stop thinking about it. So I just needed to have a little bit of a chat. I would love to know everyone else's thoughts about the film, what you thought, what you took away from it. Did you like it? Did you hate it? What were your thoughts? Leave a comment below, but don't forget to give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. I will continue talking about my 52 movies in 52 weeks as we go on, but I will continue as I see new films as well to talk about them and share the creative journey. Where, like, I've got a show that's going to Fringe soon. There's going to be a lot more things coming, but yeah, I hope you follow along, and I will see you next time on The Creative Spark. Bye!